not Mary Jane, Gwen Stacy. And I thought Gwen Stacy would eventually be the girl that Spider-Man married, that Peter Parker married. But just for fun, we wanted to introduce another girl, so we introduced Mary Jane. Now, these were fictitious girls that we made up out of our heads. They didn't really exist, and yet, once we started writing them, and I started writing the dialogue for them, Mary Jane suddenly had all the personality, and Gwen, while she was a nice girl, was just a nice girl. And Mary Jane was the one with the fiery personality, and she was hip and everything, and we couldn't control that. We couldn't make Gwen as exciting or personable as Mary Jane, even though we tried. It was like they were living creatures and we couldn't control them. Maybe I shouldn't tell that, because maybe it shows that we were a lousy writer and artist. I'll tell you another thing. I killed off Captain Stacy in one story because I thought it would be very dramatic. Captain Stacy was Gwen's father. Was her name Gwen Stacy? I think it was Gwen Stacy. Yeah, okay. If you don't know either, we'll settle for that. So I killed off her father because I wanted a very dramatic moment when the father is dying and Peter Parker, Spider-Man, tried to save him. And he always worried, what would the father say if I married Gwen and he found out that I'm Spider-Man? And Peter Parker didn't know that didn't think Gwen's father knew who he was. But when Gwen's father lay dying in Peter's arm, he said something like, I'm sorry, in Spider-Man's arm. Spider-Man had tried to save him, but got there too late or something. He said to Spider-Man, take good care of Gwen, Peter. And Spider-Man realized the father knew who he was. And I thought that was incredibly dramatic. And now we could move on with the story. Well, a few months later, I had to go to Europe for some reason. I left the book to Jerry Conway to write. And when I was in Europe, I found out that he had killed Gwen Stacy. I said, we already killed the father. It's like we have a vendetta against the Stacy family. One last thing about Mary Jane, and I'll quit. There was one line I loved, and I don't know why they didn't use it in the movie. I thought it would have been so good. Peter Parker's